When I confronted my girlfriend about her late nights, she sneered. My life, my rules, you're not my owner. So I locked the door, closed the chapter, and told her mom, keep your diamond, I don't need it. I'm 34, and I thought I had finally reached the point in life where I could settle down with someone who valued the same things I did: respect, honesty, and trust. For a while, I really believed my girlfriend was that person. But slowly, things started to shift. At first, it was small. She'd stay out late on certain nights, claiming she was catching up with friends. I didn't question it much. After all, everyone needs their own space, and I didn't want to be that guy who checked the clock every time his girlfriend walked out the door. I trusted her. But then it became consistent. 3 nights a week turned into 4. Dinner with friends turned into don't wait up. I'd wake up at 2 a.m. to an empty side of the bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering what she was doing that was more important than us. I kept telling myself not to jump to conclusions. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe she just needed time for herself. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. One Friday night, I finally asked. She had just come home, makeup smudged, shoes in her hand, the smell of perfume still fresh in the air. I tried to keep my tone calm. Hey, it's been happening a lot lately. You're out late almost every night. I just want to understand what's going on. Is everything okay? Her response wasn't what I expected. She didn't explain. She didn't reassure me. She didn't even pretend to care about my concern. She just looked me dead in the eye and said, coldly, everybody has their rights. I will do whatever I want. My life, my rules. You are not my owner. The words cut deeper than I let on in that moment. I wasn't trying to control her. I wasn't saying she couldn't go out. All I wanted was respect, some honesty, some effort to make me feel like I mattered. Instead, she turned it into a power struggle like I was trying to put chains around her. I nodded and walked away, but inside, something cracked. It was the first time I looked at her and thought, maybe she doesn't see me as a partner at all. Maybe she sees me as someone who's just convenient. The more I replayed her words in my head, the more they stung. You are not my owner. That wasn't the language of someone who wanted to build a life together. That was someone daring me to walk away. Still, I didn't end it right there. I thought maybe she was just tired, or maybe she didn't realize how dismissive she sounded. I told myself relationships take work, that people sometimes lash out, that she'd calm down and explain when she was ready. But instead of things getting better, they only got worse. The late nights turned into even later ones. The distance between us grew wider. She stopped checking in altogether, like I wasn't even part of her world anymore. And I knew something had to give. I wasn't ready to walk away yet. Not until I had clarity. But deep down, I could feel it. The end of us had already begun. After that cold response, my life, my rules, you are not my owner. I tried to let it go. I told myself maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I needed to give her space. But letting it go only made things worse. Her late nights kept piling up. Sometimes she wouldn't come home until after 2 a.m. Other nights, she wouldn't even text me to say when she'd be back. I wasn't asking her to report every move, but being left in the dark like that, it ate away at me. One night, I finally decided not to wait up. I had been sitting in the living room until past midnight before. This time, I simply locked the door, went to bed, and told myself, she can figure it out when she decides to come home. Around 12:30, my phone started buzzing on the nightstand. I ignored it at first. Then it rang again, and again. Within 15 minutes, I had over 10 missed calls. I turned the phone face down, but the vibrations kept coming. By the time I hit the 20th missed call, I finally picked up. The first thing I heard wasn't worry or an apology. It was her yelling. Where the hell are you? Why is the door locked? Do you know how ridiculous this is? Her voice was sharp, almost venomous. She didn't even pause to ask why I hadn't answered earlier or whether I was okay. She just launched into anger, like I was the one who had done something wrong. I kept my voice calm. I was home. You weren't. I went to bed. Don't play games with me, she snapped. You're supposed to be here when I come home. What kind of man locks his girlfriend out of the house? You're acting pathetic. Hearing her say that hit me in a way I can't quite explain. It wasn't just the disrespect. It was the complete lack of accountability. She had been out until nearly 1 a.m., ignored me all night, and then had the nerve to turn it around like I was in the wrong. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, just listening to her rant. She cursed, called me controlling, said I was being dramatic. But the more she talked, the clearer things became for me. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a small fight we could patch up in the morning. This was who she had become, someone who thought she could do whatever she wanted, without consequence, and still expect me to stay quiet, unlock the door, and welcome her back like nothing happened. When she finally paused to catch her breath, I said quietly, "Do you hear yourself right now? You've been out all night. You didn't even bother to let me know when you'd be home. And now you're screaming at me because the door is locked? Do you even care how this feels for me?" She didn't answer directly. She muttered something about me being too sensitive and hung up the call. I just sat there in silence, staring at the empty side of the bed. That was the moment I knew this relationship wasn't about love anymore. It was about her doing whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted, while I was expected to put up with it. And for the first time, I thought seriously, maybe it's time to show her I'm not going to live like this. After that night, I felt different. Something inside me had shifted. Her words, her tone, the way she dismissed my feelings, it all added up to a truth I could no longer ignore. For days, I kept my distance. I didn't argue, didn't chase her, didn't ask where she was going. I just stopped playing the role she expected me to play. And the less I engaged, the more unsettled she seemed. Then came the night everything snapped. She had been out again, no call, no text. The clock passed midnight, then 1, then 2. I didn't bother waiting. I turned off the lights, locked the door, and went to bed. At 2:15 a.m., my phone lit up. Again, the same routine, call after call. 20 missed calls in less than half an hour. Finally, I answered. Her voice was sharp, panicked, and furious all at once. Open the damn door. What's wrong with you? You think this is funny, but I didn't raise my voice. I didn't feed her fire. I spoke evenly, almost too calm. This is my house. My rules and regulations apply here, not yours. The door is closed for you now and for a lifetime. Go wherever you want, but not in my house. There was silence on the other end. For the first time in weeks, she didn't have a quick comeback. When she finally spoke, her tone was different. Softer, weaker. You're just like all the other guys. You don't respect me. You're trying to control me. I shook my head, even though she couldn't see it. No, respect goes both ways. You don't get to disappear all night and then scream at me when I won't play doorman at 3 a.m. That's not respect, and it's not love. Her voice cracked. Please, don't leave me. I'll change. I won't do anything you don't like. Just give me another chance. For a second, I almost felt the weight of her words. Almost. But deep down, I knew they weren't promises, they were survival tactics. She wasn't suddenly realizing what she'd done wrong. She was realizing she might actually lose the comfort of someone who tolerated it. I closed my eyes, exhaled, and said quietly, "It's too late. Your chapter is closed in my life." She cried, tried to argue, begged again, but I didn't let her back in. Not just the door, my life. Lying in bed after I hung up, I expected to feel guilt. I expected to feel doubt. But instead, I felt something else, clarity. For weeks, maybe months, I had been twisting myself into knots, wondering if I was being unreasonable, if maybe I was the problem. That night, I realized the problem wasn't me, it was the lack of respect that had been eating away at everything between us. It wasn't about a locked door. It wasn't about late nights. It was about the way she dismissed me, disregarded the relationship, and then tried to flip the script when consequences finally came. And once I saw it clearly, I knew there was no going back. After that night, everything between us came to a quiet stop. She still called for a few days, sending messages that swung between anger and desperation. One minute she'd accuse me of being cold-hearted, the next she'd beg for forgiveness, promising to do better. But my mind was already made up. When I closed the door on her that night, I wasn't just shutting her out of my house, I was shutting her out of my life. A few days later, I got a call I didn't expect. Her mother. She started polite, but I could hear the tension in her voice. My daughter told me what happened. She said you're ending things because she stays out late. That's not enough reason to throw away a good woman. I listened quietly, letting her speak. She may have made mistakes, her mother continued, but she's a diamond. Men line up their whole lives looking for someone like her. You don't just walk away from that. You're making a mistake. Her words stung not because I agreed, but because it was clear where her daughter got her mindset. This idea that no matter what she did, she was automatically valuable, automatically untouchable, automatically excused. When her mother finished, I finally replied, "Calm, steady, then keep your diamond. I don't need it." There was silence on the other end. For once, there was no argument left to make. She just muttered something under her breath and hung up. That was it. And for the first time in months, I felt free. It wasn't about winning or proving a point. It wasn't about revenge or punishment. It was about realizing that love without respect isn't really love at all. It's dependency, convenience, and denial dressed up to look like commitment. I thought back to that night when I first confronted her, when she looked me in the eye and said, "Everybody has their rights. My life, my rules. You are not my owner." At the time, those words cut me, but now, I see them for what they were. The truth she had always lived by. She never wanted a partnership. She wanted freedom with the benefits of someone waiting at home. That wasn't going to be me. Looking back, I don't regret walking away. If anything, I regret waiting so long, giving her so many chances to value what I brought into her life. Respect and boundaries aren't optional in a relationship, they're the foundation. And once they're broken, there's no patching them up. I know some people might say I was too harsh, that I should have tried harder, been more forgiving. But here's what I've learned. Forgiveness without change is just permission for the same hurt to keep happening. She had her chance. She wasted it. Now, I've moved on. Not to another relationship yet, but to peace of mind. To a life where I don't second-guess myself every night. Where I don't wait up at 2 a.m., wondering why the person who's supposed to care about me doesn't even bother to send a text. So, that's where it ends. Her mother still believes she's a diamond. Maybe to someone else, she will be. But not to me. Because I finally realized, a diamond without respect isn't worth holding on to. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.